Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Melissa. I am the owner and artist here at the Top Drawer RVA located in Richmond, Virginia. I'm also a Dixie Belle brand ambassador. I found this cute little Asian inspired cabinet on Facebook Marketplace. It was only $20 and that to me is a total steal. I know there's some damages on the top of this piece, but don't worry, we can totally fix that. This cabinet actually came from Hong Kong. The person that I bought it from brought it back over and imported it to the US. I knew that this top piece was like a plaster failing finish, but structurally it's in great sound condition. So let's fill up all the little cracks and holes with Dixie Belle's mud. It's very light, this cabinet, so I'm assuming it's not solid wood. It might be kind of like a frame with a plaster overlay. So the top of the piece ended up being a little bit indented. Using the mud to overfill the areas will allow me to sand it back to flat and leave me with a solid piece on the top. I will want to protect this area though as well with either slick stick or boss. So since the base of this piece is kind of like a shiny lacquered paint, I want to make sure to use a prep product like slick stick or bonding boss. What this is going to do is allow me to make sure that my paint is going to stick and adhere very, very well. Bonding boss or slick stick is applied in the same manner. All you need to do is roll it on or brush it on, do your first coat, wait approximately 2 to 4 hours, and then come in and add your second coat. This will protect that soft mud from any possible breakage or getting reactivated with water. What you're going to want to do is wait approximately 24 hours before you begin to paint. But just know that bonding boss or slick stick is kind of the way to go, especially for me. I paint at home in my studio, aka dining room, so I really don't want to sand anyways. This keeps me a really great way to make sure that my piece is going to be ready for paint. I like to use my foam roller. You can purchase the foam roller from Dixie Belle as well. It comes with a cute little tray. It all fits together perfectly. And then I don't have any streaks, lines, or marks when I roll on my slick stick. Well, hello Dixie Belle paint fans. How are you today? It is Melissa coming to you live from the Top Drawer RVA, where I get to hang out every Wednesday with you here on the dining room, aka studio floor, and play with some paint. So welcome. If you are new, coming to join me for the first time, I would love it if you drop it in the comments below. And if you are back again because you hang out with me every Wednesday, thanks for coming and hanging out with me. I love our little time together. So I have a new project today, and if you didn't catch the final results from last week's project, which was our mirror that we did in Terra, I ended up adding rusty crusty patina to it. It's absolutely fabulous, and I did put it up over on my YouTube page. You can find me on YouTube at the Top Drawer RVA, where you can see the final result from last week. I rusted it, I crusted it. It looks like $1,000,000 and I love it. So I have a new project. And this is totally my style, y'all. This is totally my style. So this is like an Asian shaped, Asian inspired cabinet. Now, I know it's Asian inspired because the person I bought it from actually purchased it in Korea. It has really big, beautiful hardware that I'm going to put back on the piece. Its shape is very square. It had red and butterflies, and it was absolutely gorgeous, but not the color scheme that I want to do for my project today. So I love anything Asian inspired. I was lucky enough to live in Japan when I was younger for many years. I worked over there for almost 5 years, and I miss it dearly. I hold Japan very close to my heart. It was so much fun. I can't believe I did Japan instead of college. So don't ask me. I didn't go to college. I did everything backwards. I didn't go to college till I was like almost 30. So now I'm here sitting on the floor with you all playing with paint, and we have this gorgeous cabinet. And I did a poll on my Instagram. I said, what should we paint today, you guys? What color should we paint? Should we paint red? Should we paint blue? I was like asking all of the questions, and nobody really was 100% one way or the other. So I don't really love red, I'm not gonna lie. It's not my favorite color for furniture, but I do love blue. I feel like blue is a neutral. And my plan for this piece is to go beautiful, bold, Asian inspired and add a transfer. And I've already opened it up, it's on the floor. Have you seen this transfer before? The Chinoiserie Transfer? It's so pretty. Let me hold it up and show you why I'm going to choose blue for my project today. The Chinoiserie Transfer comes with 4 image sheets inside the Bells and Whistles Transfer. Each sheet is able to be cut up and applied to your project whatever way you wish, but do you see these big, beautiful branches? So nice, right? So the last piece I did that was similar to this, I made the tree come up from the middle and kind of branch out. For this one, I'm thinking I'm gonna do like tree coming in from the side and then add one of these birds because there are these gorgeous birds on this piece as well. See that peacock? So pretty, so pretty. So if I do like the branches coming up maybe from each corner, some birds sitting on the branches, I want a fairly neutral background. So for today, we're gonna go with blue. Blue is going to match well with this gorgeous transfer. There's shades of blue, there's shades of pink. I mean, red was totally an option and red might have been like a bold choice for this, but I feel like blue is a little safer. So we're gonna go safe and sound today and we're gonna go blue. We're gonna do all different kinds of blue and I'm gonna tell you the colors as I open them. And I have one here that I haven't opened in a very long time. I'm hoping she's not too chunky and she is not. It is beautiful. Have you tried Moonshine Metallics from Dixie Belle? This is Caribbean and it's actually like a metallic, really pretty blue. So I'm gonna open up all these blues on the floor along with a couple neutrals because you know you can't do like a blue unless you have like at least one neutral in there. So for my neutral today, I'm gonna go with Mud Puddle, which is FYI my new favorite Dixie Belle color. I don't know why Mud Puddle is my new favorite color, but it totally is. It's like the perfect taupey brown. So pretty. I'm being obsessed with it. I've done like 3 pieces in the past month with this color. It's so pretty. Jump in. So on a paper plate, I have 2 blues that were in a container because they're big containers were getting too old and crackly, so I put them in this. You all know I have a problem shutting lids, right? Like I do it for things in the fridge, I do it for packages on the counter. I don't shut lids well. It's a disease. I don't know. So I combined a couple colors in a couple of these. These are actually condiment containers. So right here we have In the Navy and Yankee Blue mixed together, as well as one that is Bunker Hill Blue. So I have 2 dark blues on a plate here on the floor. I also have open Vintage Duck Egg. And then my neutrals, which are Mud Puddle, my new fave, and Dried Sage. Let's get to work. Let's get to work. Do I know what I'm doing? Not 100%. Do I have an idea? A little bit. So I'm going to cross-contaminate my brushes. Normally, I would tell you to have a separate brush for each color. Today, that is not the case. Today, we're going all in. We're gonna make a hot mess and we're gonna create something really pretty because this transfer is gonna come in and be the focus of this as well as the large hardware. I'm going to go dark around the edges, blending into a more neutral center. All right, let's start off with some Bunker Hill and we'll start right up here at the top, okay? And we'll see what happens. We'll bring you up here so you can see exactly what is going on. All right, my friends. So let's put this on here. Actually, a spray misting bottle filled with water would be super helpful. Do you guys know where I put that? If you were a spray misting bottle, which should be on the floor because I have many and I need it for this project. If you were a spray misting bottle, where would you be? You're right here on the other side of my cabinet. No worries, save the day, we got it. Okay, so you have a spray misting bottle filled with water. You have your paint, which I'm just gonna kind of like play with some color to see how it blends. We're going to have to blend on the second coat, right? Because we kind of need to cover up the slick stick. So we're gonna get our paint pattern down and I'm going to just throw a bunch on there. We're just gonna get it going on. So this is Bunker Hill, which is quite blue, quite blue. Well, let's get it on there. I don't care if you brush it, if you cross hatch it, if you stipple it. This cabinet has some minor defects because I did have to fill in so much of the top with mud due to the breakage of that plaster-like material. It's going to be a little chunky. This is not a smooth surface cabinet. We are going to lay down our paint in a couple of different manners and I'm going to blend it on the second coat. And when I blend it, I'm going to be doing my best dang brush. And when you hear me talk about my best dang brush, it is like it creates texture where there was none before. So the best dang brush is a natural fiber as well as a synthetic fiber brush that when I swirl together my colors creates texture where there really wasn't any before. I'm just making sure that blue goes in here on the edge. Let's get some of that blue just so I don't see red, because remember this cabinet was red and I don't want to see that on the inside corner. So let me just get in here and cover those edges. Okay, so Bunker Hill, a little bit of Yankee Blue. Let's keep the same brush and jump right into Vintage Duck Egg. Now my Vintage Duck Egg is a little chunky. It's a little chunky monkey because, again, I don't know, somebody in my house doesn't close lids. It's not me. It's totally me. So let's just kind of smash this paint on here and see what happens. This is also the best way for me to paint. This is when I paint like this, I get the best finishes. I end up producing more, I don't know, art. Because I get kind of like, if you have to sit down and think about, oh, I better put this here, I better be smooth here, I better be careful, you're not gonna have any fun. Get messy, have fun. All right, Bunker Hill, a little bit of that Yankee Blue mix, Vintage Duck Egg. Let's now go to the other brush and go into our neutrals. This is dried sage. Let's see what the dried sage does. Because I do want to go kind of like dark into light. And with the same brush, I'm gonna actually dip into my mud puddle. Mud puddle is definitely darker, but still similar to dried sage. We're not that far off. How light do I want to go in the center is the question. I want the blue to really come in. And I might even have more blue coming up from the bottom. I know the blue is going to travel into the center, but I'm wondering if I need more Vintage Duck Egg. And we won't know until we blend it together. And I know this looks like a hot mess express, but do you trust me? Do you trust me? Because I say this every live, every week. There is a method behind the madness. I promise. I promise. All right, before we come in here and start to blend and see what happens, do I want an even lighter color in the middle? I have some fluff, I think, on the floor. Is that getting too light? I don't want white, but I might have to just kind of touch it in the middle as a medium, just so I don't get too brown, if that makes sense. So that's a little bit of fluff with that same brush. We're not getting crazy in here. We're not changing brushes. We're making a mess and we're having fun. Okay, let's dry this a little bit with my heat gun. So if you wanted to blend on the first coat, like if you wanted to come in here and actually just start blending right away rather than laying down this kind of first color pattern, you just need to choose a color that you're gonna paint. You could choose your French, you could choose like a light color like this, like your mud puddle, or you could go dark, and make sure that you have a base on there to let your paint be put on top of. You don't have to do it this way. This is just the way that it's going today. Because I had to do other things today, like clean vents in the ceiling for fun, because it was freezing cold here. And I was in my daughter's room today, and she's like, Mom, I'm cold. I'm like, okay, let me look at your vent, make sure it's open. And when I went to make sure that it was open, I noticed it was very dusty. So that meant after she left, I had to actually go in and clean all her vents, just because that's what moms do, right? That's what moms do. So let's go back in here with this paint and dampen. This is the second coat, right? That first coat's on here. It's fairly dry. Let's start to blend some colors together and see what happens. I'm gonna go into the Yankee Blue, same brush. Same brush, I'm going into Vintage Duck Egg. I'm gonna spray my paint a little bit for the Vintage Duck Egg because it is thick. It's not as thin. And when your paint thickens up like that, sometimes you want to add a little bit more water to your piece. Still looking like a hot mess express. That's good. That's the way we like it over here. Let's go into some mud puddle. Like this is like almost like the boring part for me because I'm more excited about putting the transfer on and designing the look of the cabinet than I am doing this base part. But once I get the front done and actually painted, I could work on the front and then come back in and work on the sides later. Let's add a little bit of that fluff right in the middle, just for the medium. What are your thoughts on, after we blend this together, possibly adding like a gold leaf circle or half circle? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that that would be smart? I feel like that is definitely very Asian inspired to do that. I think that that might be a possibility. The hardware itself is a little dark. I'm gonna have to shine it up with some gold gilding wax anyways. I might even spray paint it, because right now it's like a dark iron that used to be more shiny, but I kind of want shiny. What are your thoughts on adding that sun to the piece? Could be a thing. All right, so let's start to work. This is where the muscles come in. This is why I don't go to the gym. We're gonna hold our brush close to the bristles, okay? This brush works best when damp. On my lap, I have a piece of paper towel that after I start to blend the blue into the neutral, I'm gonna be wiping it off, okay? I'm gonna hold the cabinet and turn my back to you because I'm going to be actually really pushing and making this blend happen. So let's decide to bring you in a little bit closer so you can see right over top of my shoulder what's happening, and let's start to make some magic happen. So I'm gonna start up here in the darkest section, and I'm gonna start to blend. When you feel your brush drag, wipe it, spray it. And I'm also gonna have to hold these cupboard doors shut. We're gonna create a textured ombre blend with our paint. By using small circular motions, what's gonna happen is you're going to create texture where there really wasn't any before, because this is a pokey brush. We're going to mush all of these colors together. There's my technical term of the day, paint mushing. And we are going to really ombre blend. I like to always start in the darkest sections because I don't want the dark to get too light, right? If I start to blend right here in the middle, I'm gonna get that lighter color all over my brush. And I might not want to do that right away. I can feel my brush dragging, stop, wipe. If you have not yet had the opportunity to try this brush is your simple and easy way to blend colors. I am not kidding when I say that you can get the most beautiful ombre blend from this brush. And you don't have to work that hard. I mean, you have to put a little bit of muscle into it, baby. A little bit of muscle, because you see me pushing on there with my arm, but that's good stuff. We like that. We like a little workout, a little paint workout. So we're just gonna gently keep doing these small circles, traveling these colors together in a cloudy ombre neutral blend. Loving this, loving this. Not loving it over there, but that's okay. We can come back and fix it up in a second. Spray your brush, holding my cabinet door shut, and ombre blending the colors together. If you see a tiny little hair, because these brushes do shed some, they are natural fiber brushes. Natural fiber brushes always shed. Get off. Just either pick it off and continue your blending, or wait until dry, and when you sand gently, those little tiny hairs will be released. Okay, push back, having a look here. Let's push you back and have a look. So now, Bunker Hill, a little Yankee Blue, little vintage duck egg, mud puddle, tiny bit of dried sage, yep, and a little bit in the middle of that white, which was just cotton. Remember, this hardware is massive, okay? It's gonna come up here and cover up a big chunk of the space. Can you see how pretty that ombre blend is? Can you see how, let's hold up the transfer so you can have a look-see of some of the colors of the transfer, and how the transfer is now going to match. What do we think? Do you like that? Is that cute or what? See how it's just gonna pop? I want it to be a base. I don't want it to be overpowering. I don't want this bottom color, I don't want it to overpower the transfer. So the second wild card is, let me see if I can aim you down. Let's see, I see Patty. Hey Patty, how are you? So now you can see how the big hardware, right? The big chunky hardware, which has like a little, it has like a lock and it slides back and forth. And there's these small little rings. I'm debating actually adding tassels as well. Because along with this transfer, and I'm glad Patty's watching because I always like to ask her. Patty has some good advice. I grabbed a stencil that I've never used before. And it's not in the package, so I can't even tell you what it's called. But if you go to the bells and whistles section, you will see it there. It's French words. And even though I'm French Canadian, technically, everybody in Canada reads French and learns French, I don't know what it says. L'amour, I know l'amour is love. Amour is love. Love something impossible. I'm going to guess it says like loving you is never impossible. But I'm making that up. I don't know what it says. Do you speak French? Tell me. What does this say? Anyways, it's a beautiful Dixie Belle bells and whistles stencil. So my wild card is to possibly and very gently use gold Moonshine metallics to lightly stencil on these words kind of off center so that the words can be behind the transfer. We're talking layers of paint with layers of stencils and layers of transfers. Do you need to see the transfer or the stencil one more time to tell me what it says if you speak French? If you speak French, drop it in the comments below and let me know what it says. But I believe it's something about love because I know amour is love and it's cute, so I'll take it. So that is my idea. Beautiful cloudy ombre blend, possible transfer in, or possible stencil kind of coming off the side, very faint, very light in like a gold Moonshine metallics, then adding that beautiful transfer up and over, possibly one branch coming this way, one branch coming this way, and maybe even a foil gold sun. I mean, because why not? Why not add all of the things? You know I like to add all of the things. We will see. Ooh, see, Patty likes the idea. So if Patty says yes, then I think it's probably a good idea. She's a smart cookie. If you don't follow Patty, go check her out here online. Reimagined, I believe, by Patty. You can click her name right there on the profile on the screen. It'll take you over to her Facebook page. So let's keep going, shall we? Because I'm liking this. I'm liking this cloudy little neutral blend. Let's finish down here at the bottom. I'm just going to, again, get the paint on. There's no rhyme or reason to getting this paint on other than covering up all of the area. What do I want to do here? Can I see the red when the door is shut? Yes, ma'am, you can. Do I have tape close enough that I can tape this off? I'm going to guess no. And here comes a dog. Luna, honey, there is zero room in here for you today. I don't have it happening. But I know you want to come in here and say hello to everybody. So hello, everybody. Here's Luna, my troublemaker. What is the matter? Oh, thank you. Delicious. Okay, goodbye. Get out of here. I'm going to have to paint this small lip and then tape it off later when I'm off camera because I don't want to see any red. I don't want to see this red when I open up my cupboard door. So if I line a piece of tape here, I'll leave this red because that's kind of fun. But if I line up a piece of tape here, I'm going to be able to cover this small section that I'm going to see when my doors are shut. Because these are technically, you saw me pop that door out. They pop out really easily. They're not like hinged in. They're actually, I don't want to say it's a tambour, T-A-M-B-O-U-R, tambour, drawers and doors go like that. I think that's what they're called, tambours, when they slide into each other. I have a furniture book. I actually just bought a book last week at Goodwill. It's all about furniture. I'm going to look it up when I get off. And it tells you all about different styles of furniture. It tells you the names of furniture. It's kind of a cool thing to have if you're a furniture painter because you're going to learn a little bit about what the heck it is that you're doing. Oh, you guys, look, I opened the door and I hit the edge. Quick, let me fix that. I don't want that to happen when my paint is wet. Let me just blend that seam out of here because that's not going to work. We don't want that to happen. Let's get that seam out of here. I opened the door and what it did was touched. So this, when it opens, touches over here. We don't want that to happen. So I have to blend that out. There, good, it's gone. Saved the day. Saved the day. All right, so get back to work. Bunker Hill Blue down here at the bottom. We're just gonna get that first coat on here. You guys, I know I talk a lot. I talk a lot. And if anything, as a furniture painter, when you paint and you put yourself online, like my videos like this, like I'll modify this video and make a YouTube out of it. I guarantee you I'm gonna get a comment that somebody says, "You're so nice, but you talk too much. Luna, quit it." They're gonna say, "Girl, mind your mouth. Why do you talk?" But you know what I'm doing? I'm filling dead airspace. All I'm doing is filling up dead airspace, because if I sit here quietly and don't talk, that would be boring and weird. I mean, I could pretend I'm talking to my dogs. Luna's in here right now. I hear her little feet. But talking to me is also self-soothing when I'm on camera. I'm just soothing myself so that I don't feel like ridiculous for being on here and painting by myself. Plus, I work by myself, so y'all are my friends. This is what I do. I talk to you instead of talking to the dogs. I mean, it's not a bad thing, right? Not a bad thing, just a crazy thing. So, I'm sorry if you think I talk too much, but it's just the way that I am. It's just the way that I am. And if you met me in real life, you would say I probably talk too much too. No lie. Let's add that beautiful mud puddle in here. Same brush, remember, I'm not even changing my brush. A little bit of that dried sage. And let's just zap it. We're gonna zap it with the heat. We're gonna dry this section so that I can paint over top of it and create that beautiful cloudy ombre blend. And if I can get it dry enough, maybe we could even play with that stencil and see what happens and go from there. But for now, we're just gonna get this first coat on and dry. Can you believe that this actually turns into this? It really blows my mind. Blows my mind. I saw somebody chatting. Deborah says, if I didn't talk, then you wouldn't know what I was doing. Because if you saw this and I wasn't talking, you might just turn me off. You might just turn off the camera and say, not for me. She'd be crazy. But method behind the madness, always method behind the madness. So we're just going to dry this first coat. Remember, we're drying it up because I'm going to come in here with that pokey brush and we're going to blend the paint around just like this. And if you're a canvas painter, FYI, this is a great background for painting on canvas. A nice cloudy blue blend. Okay, so now there we go. That is enough dry for me. Let's go back in. We're gonna get a little bit more precise now. We're actually gonna paint properly. Let's paint in our second coat. How am I gonna hold? I'm gonna hold it right where the hardware would go, because if I just start touching everything, I'm gonna get in trouble because I'm gonna touch all this wet paint. So I'm gonna have to hold exactly where the hardware is gonna go so that I don't mess it up. So all I'm doing is kind of like re-wetting this area. I'm gonna need some more of that beautiful Yankee Blue and a little bit more of the Bunker Hill Blue. This is the Bunker Hill down here at the bottom. And again, stippling it on. It doesn't even matter if you stip it or if you dab it or if you gently put your paint on, but like, get messy. You're gonna have much more fun if you're messy, trust me. I do wanna make sure I get in underneath this lip. There's nothing worse than turning your piece around or upside down and seeing a section that just didn't get covered, like up underneath a lip. Super annoying. You can see that I'm going in kind of like a little bit of a circle. Let's get in here with this vintage duck egg. And then a little bit, switching brushes, going into my mud puddle. Luna's crying at the door. Honestly, if it's not kids, it's dogs. If it's not dogs, it's kids. Everybody just keeps bothering me. Don't they know I'm busy talking to people on the internet? Okay, back with the tiny little bit of cotton in the middle. Okay, so my brush has a lot of color on it, right? We're really gonna spray it right now. and kind of wipe off that paint that I have on there, because I don't want to take the mud puddle that might be on here and mush it into the blue. I want to start from the darks and come up into the light, okay? And I'm not even going to really do the legs because I want them to stay darker. So I'm just going to gently kind of like shadow the paint in. If you feel your brush start to drag, spray it. This brush likes water. Always works best that way. So when I do the transfer and the stencil, and I haven't even gotten to like the metallic part of what I want to do yet. I definitely want to add a little bit of the metallics somewhere on here. When I get to the transfer and the stencil, they will be the star of the show. This paint is not going to be the star of the show. This is just going to be my base, my cloudy base. Okay, now I'm going to stop and go back, have another brush. This brush has nothing on it. Okay, this is a naked brush. I just want to kind of get rid of some of this marks right here because I don't want to ombre blend the legs too much. I want the legs to stay fairly Bunker Hill. And even on my brush that I use to apply the Bunker Hill, there's a lot of Yankee Blue and some of that vintage duck egg. So I just kind of want to soften those edges a little bit. I might have to put a little bit more over here. Maybe even more. I'm just adding color as I go along just because I'm like that. I don't want the legs to be too light. Like I want the legs to be a little bit more darker. I don't want the transition to be so vivid on the legs, right? Okay, that part's good. I can live with that. I can live with that. This piece will also be probably waxed as a seal because I want to get in here and really, I don't want any shine and I want to use wax so I can darken and deepen the edges as well. Okay, it's getting hot in here. I'm gonna get some rosy cheeks because the lights are on and I'm using my muscle. Using my muscles. And actually, I think I might just spray this because it feels like it's drying really fast. See this little transition? Loving that. I actually have two brushes on the floor, two Best-Dang brushes, just in case I want to get out the second one. If this one gets too contaminated with multiple paint colors, which does happen when you're blending from dark to light like this. So I have the second one over here if I feel the need to bust out my second brush. I have to move this closer. My arm is getting tired. Remember when I said this is better than going to the gym? I might have lied. It's hard work. Okay, so let me just hold this shut and continue to blend this edge in. See here where this is darker? I'm just adding a bit of that softness in there, back in that section. It was too much of a transition going on. That's better. I just want the dark around the corners like that. Again, spraying my brush and continuing my process here. I'm going to have to overlap from here to here because it's not going to seamlessly dry. Like if I wasn't talking to you here on the screen, this would be a little bit more easier to achieve. But coming back in the middle is always a little bit harder to blend colors together. So you're going to see me travel up a little bit higher, and that's okay. The traveling up a little bit higher, it's just to pull it together. I feel like the bottom is a little bit more blue. Did I add more duck egg? It's okay. But do you feel like the bottom is a little bit more blue than the top? Let's put you back up so you can see the whole thing. There you go. Let's continue. We're almost there, people. definitely some rosy cheeks are gonna happen. It's funny because when I rewatch these lives, I'm like, oh, look how pretty you look with your nice makeup at the beginning of the video. And then by the end of the video, I'm like, drowned rat, fabulous. But no, seriously, it's hard work to do this brush and to do this sort of blending. It always makes me, it makes me all hot and bothered, getting hot and bothered over here with paint. So this is where we're gonna overlap the sections. We're gonna bring these two together. And if I feel the need, I can get out my second best dang brush, because I have two sitting on the floor for this reason. One gets too contaminated and I don't want to travel up the color. Like right now I'm seeing more mud puddle down here than I am right here, but that's okay. I'm kind of digging it, Let's see what's happening. Let's keep blending. This is the magic of a cloudy ombre blend, is that there's really no wrong way to do this. Getting there, almost. Okay. Almost. One little hair. The only section I'm not loving is right here. There's too much white. Let's find a brush that's not too dirty and put a little bit more of that mud puddle. Just darken up this section a little bit. Better. Okay. Can you see the whole entire piece? Right now this looks like really light, but you know what it is? It's the reflection. It's looking really light in that one spot. Let's see if I can change your angle. This is not as light as it looks. Okay, like right now in the camera when I'm looking up here, I think like, wow, she missed a big spot. I did not. Yes, it's lighter here, but I want to show you. Remember, this hardware is going here, okay? And this transfer, if I can pull a sheet, I just put the camera on. For the love of Pete. Hold on. Whoa, almost fell over. So, imagine this. Imagine this. Imagine we're probably doing that beautiful stencil in a very light manner. Like very light. I'm talking like just a glimmer of gold. What do you think? Are we good? Are we good with this? Do you like it? Do you think that I was able to translate what it was that I was talking about on this piece? Because I think at the beginning, when I started putting the paint down, you guys might have thought that I've lost my marbles. I think what I'm going to do is add a little bit more even of this Bunker Hill up on the edges. Just a little bit. Just a little bit more. Just a little darker. Let's see. Yay! Patty says yes. Like, you know what I mean? The shading. When you go dark to light, it really changes the dynamic of a piece. When you have the ability to darken up those edges, it becomes a canvas. This becomes a canvas for your furniture. Listen, I've got vacuum cleaners in here and fans on me here. Now, big chunky hardware, transfer, possibly that stencil, which is the words. I'm going to come back in here, see if anybody translated this for me. Something about love. Something about love being difficult, but I bet you it says love isn't difficult if I'm with you. I bet you. Something like that. And then the transfer. Do we still think that I should do a half moon or even a full moon of gold leaf? I could do the full moon of gold leaf directly here behind where the hardware is going to sit. So my full gold moon could be here, but that might be too much. Is that too much? Is it ever too much? Like, can I actually go too far? That is the question. Because I have done pieces where I'm like, I should stop. And I don't stop. And they turn out to be the best pieces that you've ever seen. Here comes trouble. Hi, Luna Petunia. What are you doing in here? I know you want to go pick up the kid from school, right? You're telling me to hurry up. Hurry up and take me to school. She knows the time better than any alarm clock. My dogs know the time. In the mornings, they tell me what time it's time to get out the door. They tell me in the afternoon it's time to go to the bus, Mom. Right? I know. We'll go. Give me a quick second. Almost finished. I'm getting some advices here. So let me know what you think. Drop in the comments below if you think that adding gold in the form of a sun with gold leaf and or the Dixie Shine is too much, because I still want to put that stencil and I still want to put that transfer. So after my live finished, I actually waited a whole nother day before I came in to do anything else. I did the same process to the sides, knowing that you really can't see them exactly from the front, so they are close to the front style, a little bit darker, as well as the top of the piece. Remember, I'm painting right over top of that slick stick that's on my little cabinet. I really like this combination of blues. It's soft, it's more of a neutral blue, and it still gives you like a little bit of a pop of color. So if you're trying blending for the first time, I really think that you should get one of those best dang brushes that helps so much. It helps immensely when it comes to ombre blending and keeping your job simple. It's a nice cloudy blend, it adds that little bit of texture, and it's going to hide any little faults that might be on your piece as well. Painting over the top of the piece. Remember, this is a spot that had all of those repairs done to it with the Dixie Belle mud. You can't even tell that that is underneath your paint. I did end up adding that beautiful stencil in a faded pattern to the front and the top of this piece. I used my Dixie Belle's Moonshine Metallics and Gold Digger and a little sponge. I wanted a very soft looking stencil, so I even sprayed it with water when it was still wet and kind of blotted off some of the letters. I want it to be faded, I want it to be really pretty, and I want it to be underneath this beautiful transfer. If you haven't used a Dixie Belle Bells and Whistles transfer before, they're actually really simple to use. They arrive now in a flat package, and you can remove the sheets from that package. There's going to be 4, there might be 6, but most of the transfers right now are a sheet set of 4. What you're going to want to do is cut out your images before you begin, and then you can peel off that white backing. After the white backing has been peeled off, you put your image down onto the area you're working on. If it helps, you can lay your piece flat on the ground, and then you use the small enclosed burnishing tool to release the transfer from that clear sheet and onto your project. You can really layer your designs, and this transfer, the Chinoiserie Transfer, is perfect for layering and building. I've seen people use this transfer on walls, on cabinets, and art. It really is one of my favorites from the Dixie Belle Bells and Whistles line. So you can plan your layout by cutting up all of your pieces and then taping them up on your project, if that helps. Or you can actually even tape up your piece of transfer on the outside clear piece to hold it steady while you're working. Since I kind of go from the top, the bottom, and the sides, depending on which area my arm gets tired working on, I then can release the transfer onto my piece, and you are left with a gorgeous cabinet. You can really see now how those beautiful layers with the words and the transfer go together very well. I put the original hardware back on. It was kind of a difficult process because the hardware needed to be nailed in and then actually pushed through with prongs and nailed on the back as well. So I used the gold gilding wax after application, just in case I banged up that hardware any little bit. adding a little bit of mood lighting, and this piece was finished. It is a gorgeous cabinet now. I think that it's a stunning piece of art that you could put inside of your home. That neutral blue and gorgeous Chinoiserie Transfer is just the bomb. I absolutely love it. Make sure to like and subscribe for new videos, and try and post a long form video every Sunday.